All right. Welcome back to Mars Day with Mark. This is episode 119. Fire family, stay lit, stay positive. It is your host with the most, Mr. Meyer with the fire, here to take the collective vibe higher. And can y'all see me? All right, we made it. Today is September 23rd, and we're going to end the week off on the 30th. This is Tuesday to Tuesday. I want to run you guys through the astrology, give you some insight into the transits, how these may affect us, and we're going to have a blessed week, just like we did last week. There was a lot of talk this time about the rapture. Let me know, did you guys get raptured? Tell me in the comments down below. I think sometimes it's worth going back into the past to do a little bit of retrospective analysis. So before I start with the degrees and show you the charts of the week, I really feel called to just do that. So this is the 16th of September if you're looking at the charts. This is the last week of Virgo season. We've just started Libra. So it's been an interesting week, my friends. And as an astrologer, I've been thinking about this. I don't know if you heard about it, but this rapture talk. People have probably been saying this before we were born. And oh, the end times are coming, the rapture, the God of the Bible is returned. And it's been some interesting transits. So I will say, over the last week, we had, of course, the sun leave Virgo. So we are starting Libra season. Shout out to the Libras. We had our new moon solar eclipse in the sign of Virgo. We had Venus move into Virgo. And we had Mars move into Scorpio. And while the sun was making this transition into Libra, we had the sun making an opposition with Saturn and Neptune. And we also have Mars making a square to Pluto. And if that sounds like a lot of techno babble jargon, just let me tell you guys, big changes have been happening. We're starting a whole new chapter. So I want to say happy Maybach to my witches. Happy equinox to everybody who is on planet Earth. And happy Libra season. Because we're starting fall, at least where I am. I'm going to give some thanks to the spirit of White Sage, Fire Family. That's what this is. I know I'm holding it kind of suspicious, but all right. So let's talk about Libra. Well, anyway, I like to do the degrees just for continuity. Let's jump into it, guys. Tonight, as I'm filming Mars Day with Mark number 119, we've got the sun at 1 degree of Libra. We've got the moon at 26 Libra. The moon is waxing. Mercury is at 9 degrees of Libra. You've got Venus at 5 Virgo. Mars is at 1 Scorpio. Jupiter is at 21 Cancer. And you've got Saturn at 28 Pisces, going retrograde, I might add. All the outer planets are retrograde. So you've got Uranus at 1 degree of Gemini, Neptune at 0 degrees of Aries, and Pluto at 1 degree of Aquarius. The North Node is at 17 Pisces. 1 week from now, guys, so here's the basic goalpost. We're going to end off the week with the sun at 8 degrees of Libra. The moon will be in Capricorn. This will be the first quarter moon at the end of the week, waxing still. Mercury moves up to 21 Libra. Venus moves up to 14 Virgo. Mars gets a couple degrees, 5 Scorpio. Jupiter moves up 1 degree to 22 Cancer. Saturn moves back to 27. And the rest of the planets are staying in the degrees that they were in. You know, just inching along, moving along, doing their thing. So let's break it down, guys. Let's break it down. We kick the week off with the sun at 1 degree of Libra. The sun is making a trine to Pluto and Uranus. So Libra is a breath of fresh air. And most of my viewers are watching this in fall, but it could be springtime if you're on the other hemisphere. So wherever you're watching this from, hope you can feel the Libra love in the air. Libra is more social. So you'll see in this 30 days of Libra that you may feel called to connect and you may feel called to focus more on your relationships. You may want love. You may want friendship. You may want community more than you did in the spirit of Virgo. You know, Virgo is the hermit card in the tarot. symbolized by the hermit. And a lot of us can kind of take on that archetype in the 30 days of Virgo, spending more time by ourselves and looking within and being more focused on our schedule and our routine and our process, right? But then we're here to connect now. Justice is the card that Libra is reflected by. You know, Libra is symbolized by the scales. So, peace be with you and with your spirit, with your body, your mind, and your soul, fire family. Libra is the spirit of peace, balance, justice, harmony, love. I always liked astrology in the sense that it is a language of symbols and archetypes. And wherever you happen to have Libra in the chart, it's going to be the focus for your month. Okay. Everybody has Libra in one of their 12 houses. So it's worth taking the time to figure that out. Simplified astrology down below in the comments or the description. The sun is the spirit of life. And it reminds us in this transition, this equinox, this Mabon season, that all things have a cycle and their season. And just like the leaves on the tree, we must also learn to let go, to release, to find peace, to shed. Sometimes you have to let go to make room for new life. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I think this really echoes the trine that we have with the sun and Pluto. So much personal growth is going on right now. I just wanted to say, man, whether it was the equinox, the eclipses ending, Libra season beginning, we out of focus. Hello? There we go. Whether it was the equinox, the eclipses, whether it was the Mars Pluto square, you may see your energy levels fluctuating. You may be really tired. You may be kind of lethargic. It may not seem like there's so much going on above the ground, but maybe there's a lot going on internally with these transitions, with these new stages beginning, old chapters closing. You see? So I will just say, take care of yourself, monitor your energy levels. Pretend like you are the god of your universe or the goddess of your universe. And that you do everything with intention, that you eat with intention, that you sleep with intention, that you breathe with intention, that you put your power into your life. Because that's what I see with the Sun trine Pluto, stepping into your power. That's the gift right here. And in the spirit of Libra, sometimes that looks like doing things with love. You know, anybody can destroy things. That's not very hard. To be aggressive and to knock down a wall, but to grow a plant, to focus your love on something and to be patient, man, that takes real power and skill. Oh, yeah. Yes, it does. Excuse me. So let me tell you guys, this week we got a waxing week. So I hope you set some powerful goals on the new moon. It's a very powerful ritual when we have a new moon, is to set some new goals. A list. 3 or more is a list. I think 10 plus gets a little too complex. Me personally, take this with salt. It's my personal preference. I prefer to do about 5 for the 5 elements. Spirit plus fire, water, air, earth. So I have a target. Because if you don't have a target, you're not going to shoot. So when it comes to the waxing moon, the moon growing and getting bigger and bigger, this is like planting our seed. This is like watering it. This is like making sure that it's in the right soil, that you're in the right environment, that you're moving forward and taking some kind of action towards the object of your manifestation. All right, we're tuning into that station. All right. It's a beautiful week, my friends. We got Mercury and Venus in mutual reception. I think this is one of the highlights I want to bring up for this week, is that we're gaining action, which is so weird in the spirit of Libra. To gain forward momentum might look like chilling. It might look like relaxing. It might look like fall cleaning or spring cleaning, depending on what side of the world you're on. But Venus and Mercury, they're going hand in hand this week, guys. And the reason for that is that Mercury is the planet that rules over Virgo, but Venus is the planet that rules over Libra. So you'll see with these two planets switching signs, they're like best friends right now, right? They're going to help each other out. Mercury is all about how we think and process our ideas, communicate, and interact with the world. And then Venus is all about how we grow within life. It's our true needs, it's what we like and dislike. It's also the spirit of happiness, it's the spirit of love, how we relate. All those Libra things I was talking about earlier, guys. So you're going to see that beauty really is a prime focus for this week. Yeah. In the spirit of Mercury, remember, guys, it's not just what you say, it's how you say it that makes a world of a difference. And given that this planet says a lot about perception, it's asking us to look into the world with love. And if we can do that, chances are you'll see the beauty in all things this week, man. I'm telling you, traditionally speaking, Virgo is a more challenging place to have Venus. So we're blessed to have this mutual reception and have Mercury kind of giving it some help. It's the old adage, the beauty is in the details, but the devil's in them too. And that really, I think, symbolizes Virgo Venus pretty well. Because Virgo Venus values really practical, very specific, very critically. Okay. And I don't know if that logic really tracked, if that syntax or my grammar really stuck the landing, but you should see what I'm saying. This is about valuing criticism. Okay. Virgo Venus. I think in the most beautiful, poetic way, that's the love of growth. Oh, beautiful stuff. But in a very negative, more abrasive tone, this is about things never being good enough because it could always be better. Always be better. It's about noticing the flaws, the devil in the details. So it does ask us to just be willing to accept, be willing to confront, and maybe even recognize that some of the asymmetries or the imbalances, they can be beautiful as well. Having like a crack on your phone screen, that can be beautiful. Having an asymmetrical face, that could be beautiful. You know, sometimes the things are too symmetrical or too balanced. They're just kind of uniform and there's no distinction, you know? So, what I feel in my heart of hearts, what I'm pulling from the hair of my chinny chin chin with the Virgo Venus energy is to value your distinction, value your uniqueness. Okay. A lot of interesting changes have happened over this week, with this ingress with Venus, with all these hard squares and oppositions in the chart. It's been kind of a pressure time. Do you guys see the chart? I always share it in the screen, but do you see it? Look at the chart. Look at the very middle, guys. I digress. Relatively soon, I'm going to be getting these podcasts on Spotify, which just made me think that, the audio listeners in the future, maybe they're not going to be able to see the chart as I'm talking about it. But if you're looking at the chart right now, guys, there's so much red in this chart. It's like, oh my goodness, this looks like a failed game of operation. This is insane. You've got this opposite to that, this squaring that. Oh my goodness, man. Are we cooked, Chad? Are we cooked? Let me know, Fire Family. Are we cooked? Hey, they said you gotta have some pressure to make some diamonds, right? Even your pain serves a purpose. I'm not trying to romanticize suffering right now, but even your pain holds a purpose. Some say beauty is pain. It's like the effort it takes to go to the gym and get a perfectly chiseled body, the action, the initiative that takes. Yeah, beauty could be pain. Imagine a beautiful woman who spends 30 minutes to 3 hours doing her makeup just right. And the frustration that comes from having to do her eyeliner over like 10 times. They say beauty is pain. Imagine someone that's so wise and compassionate and educated. The years of work it took to attain that knowledge and wisdom. Beauty is pain at times. So It makes me wonder because sometimes I just hit record and just start talking. Am I preaching asceticism? Maybe I am with Virgo Venus. And if that's jargon, asceticism to me basically means the opposite of hedonism. And that might also be like a what are you saying? Hedonism is about the pursuit of pleasure on all levels at all costs. Just rampant consumption is Dionysian joy. But then you've got basically the opposite, asceticism, is renouncing pleasure, and maybe even pursuing the painful path. These are both two different rides to the design. Oh my goodness, roads to the divine. Almost misspoke, but it would have rhymed anyway. There's two paths to the divine. There's many paths. Okay, do you want the Apollonian path? Do you want the Dionysian path? I think the spirit of Libra is saying we kind of want both. We kind of want balance. Libra has a reputation of being really indecisive, and that's because of the scales, the ability to perceive alternative viewpoints. And this message comes from a Libra moon, aka me. So I can relate to that Libra sentiment. And if you're still listening right now, I want you to leave your Libra placements in the comments down below. Let me know so I can relate to y'all. What planets do you have in Libra? What house is Libra in your chart? Libra's in my second house. I got my moon there. Let me know. We may want both. You might not necessarily have to choose between one or the other. You could pick both. There's no reason you can't. A balanced life basically means you have to ask yourself where you are going into extremes. Consider the vibrations raised, fam. That's what I'm saying. To get a balanced life, you have to consider where are you going to extremes, and you may have to cut back a little bit. My mentor, Myron Golden, he mentions that balance can't be present where focus is present. He almost puts these as two sides of the same coin. He says, where you have focus, you can't have balance. And where you have balance, you can't have focus. He advocates that a focused life is better than a balanced life, but I'll leave you guys to decide and think for yourselves on what you prefer. Just his ideas, just something to think about. Balance is equal forces in opposite directions. So his logic makes sense to me that if you were to focus on something, it couldn't be balanced. So I think the question that arises now is what are your priorities? What are your priorities? I really like to think in both instead of either or. I think with some cunning, with some creativity, you probably could have both focus and balance, but at the end of the day, we all have finite energy, finite time and resources, so we do wish to spend them wisely to make it make sense. So let me tell you guys about Mars. It is Mars Day with Mark. It'd be kind of weird not to talk about it. Mars is the planet of action, intention, direction in life. And I think a key for discerning the energy of Mars, which I don't see people talk about a lot, is destruction. Mars is the name of the Roman god of war. Destructive energy is part of creation. Some could say without destruction, the world would be overbuilt. There would be no way to create. Creation is an act of destruction. Mars says no, just like Saturn. Mars says no, but I think Mars says it in a little bit more direct and assertive way. Saturn can be very cold and nonchalant in the way that it says no. It's the same message. But anyway, when I see Mars going through transit, I always consider that this is the part of the universe which asks us to remove things from our life, to cut things out. And this is beautiful to see Mars in the sign of Scorpio, which is its home, in addition to Aries. So Mars in Scorpio reflects cutting back anything that takes our power. Okay? This could be a person, a place, or a thing. This could be habits, beliefs, identities. You see, it could be anything, fam. Mars and Scorpio, if you look at this like a language, astrology again, it talks about soul power. Soul power. Scorpio is the deepest part of us. And I mentioned earlier when Mars makes this ingress into Scorpio, it's making a square with Pluto. And technically, as I'm filming this, guys, the square is active. But if you look at it down to the precise Virgo details, man, it's going to take a second. And Wednesday is really when the active, full, exact square is going to kick off. So this is worth talking about. You know, we could talk about astrology all day, every day, and just I could talk myself hypoxic, but that's not the goal. I think it's important to look at the condition of Mars. And it may be a challenge with our energy this week, or at least the beginning of this week. You may be shedding some skin rather hard. There's a million ways that the planets could play out, because keep in mind, we're basically using the planets and their transits as a form of oracular divination, right? And the potentialities on planet Earth are so vast and far between. Sometimes correlation doesn't equal causation. You understand? But I just know the conversation for a lot of us with this week moving into Libra is finding our peace and finding our power. In the interest of love, Libra, we are going to want to connect. We are going to want to value our relationships and be more social. But it also asks us to reflect on our relationship with ourselves and how do we love ourselves. And with Venus in the sign of Virgo conditioning this whole conversation, we're going to find that the love really comes from one, radical acceptance of ourself, and then two, our daily habits and patterns, and then three, our sovereignty, our ability to be self contained and self possessed. You understand? I could simplify it even more to say that your power is going to be one of the most auspicious and meaningful factors of your self love journey. If you love yourself, stop giving your power away. That seems to be a guideline. Blessed be Fire Family. What else is there to say? Everything I could say, man. And I've been shooting for 25 minutes. So in these last two, let me tell you that the North Node is in Pisces. And this is always a conversation about our direction, the North Node of the moon. And Pisces is a more spiritual path. This reads to me that you will manifest your dreams. Your dreams will come true. That begs the question, what are you dreaming about? And I'm not necessarily talking about your sleeping dreams, but do write those down in your dream journal because it does help you understand yourself. But I'm questioning, what are you dreaming about when you're awake? What are you imagining? Some would say that the line between thinking and imagining is pretty blurry or thin, or it might overlap sometimes. I really think that everybody imagines every single day. Our imagination is the vision we project into the world. Sometimes it's not what you see, it's how you see it. So when it comes to this North Node in Pisces, I really do encourage everybody in these times to imagine your dream life, that you're getting what you want. And it should light you up, fam. Some say motivation is attached to desire. So if you don't find yourself very energized or very motivated at this time in your life, maybe consider that it's that you don't know what you want. And that's a very Libra message. Do you know what you want? Try not to say, I don't know. I believe you do know. At least some part of you knows what you want. So when you say, I don't know, you're basically just shutting the door frame on your own imagination. You know what you want. Just take some time to think about it. Write it down. You could even try brain dumping in your journal. It's okay to want multiple things, but see which one speaks the loudest. We got some interesting shifts going on right now with Pluto Aquarius, Neptune Aries. Peace be with you guys. Peace be with you. There's a lot of unrest in the collective. So the best thing you can do to hold down your role in this boat, man, is radiate some peace. Blessed be, Fire Family. Take care of yourself. I'll see you next week on Mars Day with Mark 120.